Hi, in previous part we built a RAG-based chatbot trained on content from loyalty rewards website PointsCrowd.com, and it worked great. It answered users' questions about points, miles, and otherwise rewards with high accuracy. But now we need to introduce data from different sources. For example, users' points and miles wallet. Sure, we could simply mix this additional data into the documents retrieved by the similarity search and let the base LLM figure it out. But doing so would make responses vague and confusing, since the model wouldn't clearly know what the user wants. So we need a smarter approach, multi-level prompting. The idea is simple. First, we run lightweight LLM to extract user's intent, and then we decide what we want to do next. PointsCrowd.com is not just a blog website, it's a search engine. It allows users to track all the existing miles and points in a single location, and then find the best redemptions based on what they already have. Currently, our existing bot would treat all user queries the same, whether they want to learn more about loyalty programs or actually find real-world redemptions for the points already in their wallets. And that approach is no longer good enough. We need our bot to understand what the user is trying to do. This means that based on detected intent, we can route user's query down to at least two paths. First, research mode, where user tries to learn more about loyalty programs, points, miles, strategies, and so on. And that's what we already have with our current RAG implementation. And second, personal wallet, where user tries to understand what they can do with their existing miles and points already in their wallet as they enter it through the website. So the plan is, first, classify what the user is trying to do, and then send the query down the track for the best possible response. Alright, so this is where we left off last time. First thing we need to update is our custom prompt. Since now we're not gonna have just one, we will have at least two. One for our research and one for our wallet intent. And we probably will have at least two more, one for actual intent prompt to explain our base model that we're looking to extract the actual intent. And the fourth is just for unknown, undetected, basically catch-all event. So this time we will not create intent in this file. Instead, we will create separate files for each prompt. This will help with maintainability and development going further. And I will use my prepared template already, just to save time. Okay, this is a fairly basic template. It just repeats what we had in our previous part. I have expanded it with formatting just to make it look nicer on the output. So now let's create a new prompt, and this prompt will be wallet template. Okay, this is our wallet prompt. It instructs our chatbot to look into the wallet and see what kind of points user has and match it against available redemptions and provide the best ones back to the user, the best ones defined for the hotels as more expensive, luxurious, fancy, 5 to 7 days stays first, and then the remainder from there. And then the same for flights, or similar for flights, to provide business class first, business and first, and then the rest as they available. In this video, I will not be connecting to Rewards API. but in production there will be connection. Next, prompt template we need to create for actual intent detection. Here's our intent template, and the instruction directs our LLM model to classify whether intent is to make a research, and when the user is asking and wants to learn about points and miles and loyalty program, wallet if the user is trying to use their own miles and points, and otherwise unknown. And by the way, going back to our wallet template, we have a placeholder for user data. That's where we're gonna feed user wallet, the current balance per loyalty program to add into the context, as well as user name and user's airport. Last template is unknown, which is catch-all. And this is our catch-all template. Now, instead of calling and retrieving these templates directly from handler, let's create a class prompt manager, and so we will retrieve custom prompts through it. Okay, that's it. Moving forward, let's return to our handler. So one more thing we need to update here before we can update the logic of custom prompt is this part. We still need to retrieve our documents through similarity search, but only for one of the intent. And doing this selectively, we will save time on the response, avoiding document retrieval where not necessary. And also we will need to make this base model dynamic. And the reason being, while we could use the same model for all intents, we're probably better off having a dynamic, just because some of the queries, some of the intents, including the detection of actual intent, don't require much of the heavy lifting, and we're probably better off with the cheapest possible, lightest model. So let's create another class and let's call it chains. Now here we will still have to initialize our database, and that is done once. That's the same as before. And next we will need to split into 2 or more base models depending on the intent. One remains the same, except we will update 4.0 to 4.1 mini. That's the newer version. And the second model, let's call it LLM prep, will be used for lighter queries like intent detection itself. And for this purpose, we will use lighter model, which is 4.1 nano. Now let's initialize our first chain with a custom prompt for intent detection. Let's create a method getChain, which will return chain based on the intent. And let's recall we created specifically for this intent, the intent detection itself, lighter model, LLM prep. Now for everything else, let's use regular LLM base model as defined above. And if we encounter intent we don't expect, let's raise the error and then return Q chain. Let's go back to the init really quick. Let's initialize this class with intent Q chain already set up. Now when we have this done, we need to import that. We no longer need this piece as well as custom prompt. We initialize our chains class and retrieve intent chain. Once this is done, we will need to update our ask method. Let's detect our intent. Update our login. We no longer need this part. This will be just one of the intent. So first use case, when intent is research, we will basically repeat our existing chatbot functionality, retrieving research chain, running document similarity search, extracting docs from the result. Let's get our old login here. And as a result, let's form input parameters for our run conversation method below. Now let's write up our second intent, wallet. Since wallet intent relies on additional data such as user data, user wallet, which all of those coming from API in production, I will just add spoofed data here for the sake of example, but in production I'll connect API. Let's initialize wallet chain and the parameters. Now user data is a JSON with a username, a home airport of the user, all loyalty programs that the user has any miles or points in it. And it looks like this. So we have a word wallet with the balances and the name of the programs, and then we have the name and the airport closest to the user. Now let's create intent for unknown. And as before, let's raise an error should we encounter unknown intent, which should be redundant, but just in case, let's have it here anyway. All right, now we are ready to pass dynamically selected chain into our run conversation method. And for that, let's just, instead of named parameters, just put input parameters. Now, since we pass in a JSON instead of named arguments, we will need to update our run conversation method to accept keyword parameters. Okay, this should be it. Let's create a test. Let the first question be very generic, so we will test intent research. For example, how to achieve high elite status with Marriott. So this should be a research. Next, let's do a wallet inquiry. Something like how many United miles do I have? And based on the test wallet, I have 100,000 United mileage plus points. So that's the number we should get back. And let's have one more regarding the points wallet where I don't have any miles or points. And I know that test data doesn't have any miles for Delta. So how many Delta miles do I have? Okay, so test user 123 asked how to achieve high elite status with Marriott, and intent was detected as research, which is correct. We see that we've collected 3 relevant documents. Okay, that's our answer. That's a pretty good answer. How to achieve elite status. To achieve elite status such as platinum or titanium, you need to accumulate elite nights, and so on and so on. And then there are bullet points, and those bullet points are formatted nicely. So I would expect it would look nice on the front end as well. And that's due to the additional prompt we added to our custom prompt. All right, so the next question was test user 123 asked how many United miles do I have? And intent detected as wallet, which is correct. We did not retrieve any documents through similarity search, which is correct. Okay, so what did we get? This is our answer. Response: United mileage plus points in your wallet. You have 100,001 United mileage plus miles available. That's exactly correct. That's exactly what we have in our wallet. Next question was how many Delta miles do I have in the wallet, and we know that there are none. So the expectation is it will respond accordingly and also will direct us with a link to the wallet part of the website where I can record my miles. Okay, Delta miles in your wallet. You do not have any Delta miles information available in your wallet. If you would like to add your Delta Sky Miles balance, you could do so here, and here is a link to Points Wallet. Why won't we take a look at the front end and see how that looks on the website? Okay, we are here. As a reminder, our crowd bot currently available as a private beta. So if you would like to participate, shoot me a message and I will add you to the list. So currently you need to log in order to access it. All right, so let's try and see how many Marriott points do I have in my wallet. All right, so it says that I currently have 280,000 Marriott points. Well, let's check if that's true. Yep, 280,000, that's correct. How about Hilton points, 635 3 points. Your Hilton points balance is 635. Excellent. All right, so this concludes this video. In this part, which is number 3, we've added multi-level prompting, which allows us to detect intent of the query first and then route the question to the best track and provide the best quality response to it. I hope it was interesting, and if you would like to participate in the beta, shoot me a message and I will add you to the list. Thank you. Bye.